Hey, Michael with X-Force PC. I'm running an 8-core processor here, 8 cores with hyperthreading, so you're seeing 16 processors here. And what I've found with public beta 13, and I believe this has been a problem since public beta number 1, is that you get worse performance when you're using a processor that has a lot of cores, because Windows, and I don't know if it's a Windows thing, it's probably an X-Plane thing, but the bottom line is the processor is slowing down when it shouldn't. You'll notice, and by the way, X-Plane doesn't need 8 cores, but if you have an 8-core processor, you might be running into this problem. Notice how we're only getting 2.5 gigahertz here. And that has to do with power management and power savings. Windows, this is how Windows normally sets up your processor power management. The minimum processor state is 5%, the maximum processor state is 100%. And normally you should not mess with that, because what that allows Windows to do is, if your computer is just sitting there doing nothing, just at the desktop, it allows it to slow down the processor to even under 1 gigahertz to save electricity and heat. But we're getting throttling in X-Plane that we don't want. So if you notice here, if I change my minimum processor state to 100%, meaning the slowest Windows is allowed to run my processor at is 100%, notice my 2.5 gigahertz goes up to 4 gigahertz because I had this chip overclocked to 4 gigahertz. My frame rate also went up about 10 to 15% when I did that. And again, this is because Windows is perceiving that there's not enough work to do, so I'm going to slow down to save electricity, and it's hurting our X-Plane performance. Again, I'm going to change the minimum processor state back to 5%. And you notice we dropped down to 2.5 gigahertz, and our frame rate just dropped from the high 30s to the low 30s. Not a huge difference, but 10-15%. I mean, everybody could use 10 or 15% more performance. Again, we usually just see this on processors that have a whole lot of cores, You should not see this problem on a quad-core processor. You should only see this if you're running an 8-core. So just monitor your processor speed, make sure you're getting the full speed you should get, and if you're not, you may need to change this minimum processor state, but I don't recommend leaving it there because it will dramatically increase your power consumption. And just to show you what also Windows will do, I'm going to totally quit the program. I'm going to try to, at least. I got the task manager in the way. Now when I quit the program, look at this. It goes way down. So just so you know, your processor slows way down when it doesn't have a load on it. Notice it's going down into the 1.5 gigahertz or so. And that's normal. But when we're in X-Plane, what we should be seeing is that full 4 gigahertz that I have this thing overclocked to, and we're not getting it because of the Windows power management. I've reported this to the X-Plane folks, and hopefully they have some way of addressing that.